One of the most important truths we find in Scripture are the feast days. And one of the reasons they are so important is not only are they commanded by our Father in heaven, but they also reveal His plan of salvation for mankind. And we're going to be observing one of these great feasts here in just a few days, the Feast of Tabernacles here at Yahweh's Restoration Ministry. And behind me, you can actually see a booth, or a sukkah, as some would call it. And this remembers the Israelites' dwellings in the wilderness. When they were in the wilderness for the 40 years, they dwelt in temporary dwellings. I want to share with you what Scripture says here. So this is Leviticus 23. Leviticus 23 provides a overall summary of these days. And verse 39, it says, "And in the 15th day of the 7th month, when you have gathered in the fruit of the land, you shall keep a feast unto Yahweh 7 days. On the first day shall be a Sabbath, and on the 8th day shall be a Sabbath." So we find 2 Sabbaths on the beginning and end of the feast. And it says, "You shall take you of the first day the boughs of goodly trees, branches of palm trees, and the boughs of thick trees, and willows of the brook, and you shall rejoice before Yahweh Elohim 7 days. And then it says, "You shall keep it a feast unto Yahweh 7 days in the year, and it shall be a statute forever." Now that's key there. It says forever. And we're certainly still within the time of forever. So we should be observing these times right now within this day and age. It says, "In your generations, you shall celebrate it in the 7th month," it says. And we're, by the way, in the 7th biblical month right now. So verse 42, it says, "You shall dwell in booths," sukkah, 7 days. All that are Israelite born shall dwell in booths. So we find a command there that as believers, we're to follow in this tradition, this biblical practice of staying in booths or temporary dwellings for 7 days of this feast. Now, there's another key prophecy I just want to talk to you about here. I won't read it. You can read it on your own. But it's Zechariah 14, 16 through 19. This is such an important passage. There in Zechariah 14, it talks about how in the millennium, how in the kingdom to come, it says all nations there will observe the Feast of Tabernacles. So such an important point. In the millennium, I'm going to repeat that. In the millennium, everybody will observe the Feast of Tabernacles. In fact, everybody's going to observe Yahweh's appointed times in general. We find the same thing about the Sabbath in Isaiah 66, verse 23. So a lot of proof. And it says there, though, in Zechariah 14, it says, those nations who refuse to come up, it says there that they're going to receive the plague of no rain. So during this time in the millennium, this feast won't be just it's going to be a requirement. And it really is a requirement today. And it's so important that as believers we understand our Hebraic roots, what Yahweh says within His Word, and why we should be doing these things. So again, we're going to be celebrating the Feast of Tabernacles here in just a few days. Got this booth behind me, the sukkah, and hopefully you'll look into this.